we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
High-priced Mexicans and never-ending bullshit. That's how I get down. Jesus. All right, welcome to episode 84 of the Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. So good Lord Almighty, man. I recorded this episode once, and I got like halfway through it because, you know, I'm always doing 9 things at once. And I got a minute, and I actually have like a couple other microphone setups, but what I don't have is time, man. So like I'm cruising Doomsday Mobile, and I did like half an episode, and then I was like, you know what, dude, I'm going to break this shit out, and I'm going to record something good, and go ahead, fucks, take it. And, you know, put it out for the people, have a little decent audio enjoyment, you know, and I start recording, and it was ass, and I didn't have much prep worked out, so I was like, you know what, dude, fuck this, I'll just redo this whole thing. Plus, you know, what sucks is, like, you try to talk about some shit, and then it's, like, so much other stuff comes up, and you're like, well, fuck, man. So, I mean, there's a lot going on, as you are no doubt well aware. There's, good Lord, man, the Kamala thing, just, it's hilariouser and hilariouser, and I kind of want to let the situation develop a little bit before I can try to get 2 cents in on any of this. But, I mean, the best I could figure is there's really like 2 Hebrew Marxist factions both fighting for control of, you know, the American Goy farm, and they're both willing to shoot each other to do it. They're both willing to do whatever it takes, and you're just kind of in the middle. And in the practical joke part of it is like you're supposed to somehow, I don't know, root for either side of this dumbass equation, which I'm not at all interested in. So, I don't know, man. Maybe I'll look into that the next time. But what I did see, what I thought was at least remotely interesting, was that this Gorilla Harris did not show up for the Netanyahu, I don't know what you'd even call it, speech, public chiding, you know, didn't show up for Bibi's visit to Congress, where this dude received, I want to say it was like 57 or 58 standing ovations. Like, that's beyond fucking North Korea caliber bullshit, all right? Like, you live in a practical joke. Like, this is officially a fucking joke, all right? 50-something standing ovations. Like, you can't, don't stand here with fucking land of the free and try to hand me that shit. Like, oh, yeah, well, fucking nobody's the boss of us. We're independent. Like, yeah, dude, 50-something standing ovations, that's not some free and independent type shit, man. That's some owned type shit. That's some you're my bitch type shit. Like, if that guy had bigger pockets, every one of those motherfuckers would be hanging on to it. Like, come on over here, bitch. Fucking hang on to my pocket. In fact, the only time you shouldn't hang on to my pocket is when you're clapping. Clap louder. It's fucking pathetic and embarrassing. But, you know, I don't know. What can we make of that? I don't know. I need to look more into it and try to get some kind of a wild-ass guess. Because, I mean, we could stand here and just state the obvious all fucking day and talk about how fucked up it is. And, you know, yeah, sure, I'm well aware. But we need to try to make some kind of, like, I have an idea. Like, maybe it's something like this, and then kind of test this out and get some ideas on what can we make of this? How can we take advantage of this, you know, for ourselves? Other than that, though, man, the Mouse Olympics continue, and Israel, as per, is upping the ante, I would say. Like, they've skipped way past just like, yeah, we're just bombing the shit out of people in Palestine. They're striking out into Syria. Now they're starting to hit heavy into Lebanon, and they put out a warning that, hey, if Hezbollah forces don't create distance, don't back up, basically, like, better back up, motherfuckers, better back up, that they're going to up the ante. And really, I think right now, Israel doesn't have much of a choice. Like, you know, you look at it and you say, dude, Israel is who's going to deal with these assholes? What are we going to do? But, dude, Israel is really in a pretty tight spot. Like, they have to fucking go. They have to make this happen, and it has to be fucking now. So they're talking about, like, oh, Hezbollah is striking out, and they're using Iranian weapons is what they're using. And boy, if Donald Trump had been killed, I'd hope you'd wipe Iran off the map, because fucking why? They're trying to float some kind of thing like, oh, Iran is behind this, they've been trying to massacre the Jewish people, and you need to take action against Iran before they get their nuclear capability in the form of a fucking Bugs Bunny bomb, which apparently they're still talking now like, oh, dude, Iran 2 weeks away from nuclear capability. Somebody do something. Somebody do something terrible. Someone's got to stop them. Yeah, dude, top of my fucking list. It's right here on my fucking to-do. Stop Iran from getting Bugs Bunny bomb. Again, stating the obvious, dude, until we can know more, until we can see more and figure out exactly what these idiots are up to, it's hard to form a definitive opinion. Further along, though, the things I wanted to hit on this week, I wanted to talk about this Olympic thing, which in a lot of ways it comes across almost as a distraction. Like, look at this absolute batch of idiocy, complete with trannies and Moloch and Satanism references and Baal references and all this sort of thing. Like, look at this shit over here, look at this, so you're not looking at that over there. But it's partly that event plus the reaction to it that I think draws a kind of a parallel to some previous events that, I don't know, how can I say, sort of marks the turning of a page, if you will. And then I want to close up with what I guess you could call a white pill in a sort of a way, like, yeah, the situation is really fucked, if you're a single dude. And this is something that I guess guys have been floating in the chat a little bit and has come up a little bit. But, as a single dude trying to meet women or form some kind of relationship or sustain some kind of a relationship, God forbid, it's tough going out there. But I did hear something. I heard this, I saw a part of this like podcast-ish looking thing on YouTube that came across as kind of a white pill, so I wanted to share some thoughts on that. So first, this Olympic dick dance, man, it was so much worse than anyone, I'm sure, ever could have imagined it could have been. Long and short, it's some Hebrew that put this thing together and describes it as, oh yeah, we wanted to put together something that really embodies France, La France, and doesn't exclude anybody. So apparently then what these idiots have was just, well, on the surface, it was like a lot of trannies, a lot of gay innuendo, some guy with his balls out, some, I don't know, these people are floating it like, well, in case you didn't know, like a lot of the ancient Greeks were just fine with homosexuality. But, it's, to me, it's not really excusable to just look at any point in history where you could find a fag and be like, well, see, these guys were all right with it, so I'm shoving this in your face. The way this thing went down, as it were, was a lot of trannies, dudes with beards and tits. That sounds like a bad band name. Beards and Tits, bro. Beards and Tits. And they've got the Last Supper, like a mock-up of the Last Supper, complete with trannies, complete with obese, gay, Jewish, lesbian woman. Like, it's hard to fit. Like, pick a title. Obese, gay, Jewish woman. Like, you can't, how far into the mix you want to go with this. They had some appearances of, like golden calf, like golden bull's head, cattle's head, like kind of a Baal reference there. They had a guy all in blue that appears to reference Dionysus, god of excess. And this one you can kind of, I don't know, and again, I'm not like your Mr. fucking Greek mythology thing, but between Dionysus and Bacchus, and this is like god of conspicuous consumption. Yeah, like gods of excess. So when you hear the word like debauch or like debauchery, this is like of Bacchus. Like to mean to get all fucked up, yeah? Like to go too far with this thing. This is what this is named for. So this is what you see here. But it was during this piece where they have some guy with his balls out and like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. And now apparently what they've done is the Olympic Committee, International Olympic Committee, has said that they're kind of invoking copyright law, where like, hey, you people can't be reposting this. Anybody repost this, we're gonna ask that it gets taken down because, you know, copyright. So yeah, then they wrap up this thing with raising the Olympic flag upside down, and I hear a couple people saying like, oh wow, it's crazy how incompetent everybody is. People are fucking incompetent now. But then when you look a little closer at it, because I mean, like they say, right? I mean, shit, like we talked about with this fake fuck assassination thing. You know, they always say don't attribute to malice what you can attribute to incompetence. But I heard a pretty good take the other day. Somebody forwarded me this thing, and it was like a real normie tier conspiracy type show. But this guy's talking about like, well, yeah, you know, normally you would say that, but now if you were looking at like, you know, like a Michael Jordan of the 90s or whatever, or a fucking LeBron James, and you're used to seeing the guy score and score and score, but now he goes like 3 games without scoring a point and committing lots of fouls. Well, you could look at a guy just on the surface and say, like, well, maybe he's just incompetent, maybe he doesn't know what he's doing, but compared to so many other things where, you know, like this is a very consistent outcome, you don't really have a choice but to say like, well, wait a minute, I feel like maybe this is a little bit on purpose. And when you look at this Olympic thing, it's some of the consistencies there are, I mean, you're really neck deep in consistencies. And I mean, once again, you've got the tiny hat guy, this Thomas Jolly guy that put this thing together, talking about we want to include everybody. And okay, maybe he was just incompetence, but now they've got this god of excess, this god of debauchery. You've got a guy with his balls out. You've got a bunch of trannies running to and fro, sir. And when you start looking at some of the themes and you start comparing this to like the whole Satanism tip, it starts to really, it starts to become pretty fucking obvious, right? This was not like an accident. This wasn't incompetence. You didn't just like, oh, whoopsie doodles, and it just sort of looks like another thing. I was just drawing shapes on my paper, and next thing you know, right? Broken cross, what do you know? So you look at this thing, and you've got the golden calf, and you've got like this, I mean, you look up, just do a quick Google search of Baal or Moloch, and it's always like it's a cattle's head, like the golden calf kind of a thing, right? This is what we're talking about here. You look up the representations of this, and it's always got its hands outward in some kind of way. And there's a few images of this would be a situation where you would place a child in this, or a baby in this thing's arms over an open flame, and this would be this child sacrifice. And again, I can't speak authoritatively on this. This isn't something I know a whole lot about. I've just heard a little bit about it. But I saw a few things looking into this where they've got this Moloch character with hands. So it's got like the cattle's head, but then it's got its hands in different configurations, like either both hands up or both hands outstretched, or one up and one down. And this one up and one down thing, this is the same thing you see if you look up like Satanism statue. You see the one hand up, one hand down thing, and this is that as above, so below deal. And again, this is like that turning bad into good, inverting everything, which again, with the inverted Olympic flag, like, oh, it was an accident, you know, it could happen to anybody. It could happen to, well, a lot of people who weren't trying to have their act together. Like, you had one fucking job, right? But when it goes along with everything else that we're seeing here, it's pretty fucking obvious. But this Moloch thing, man, I saw one page where they're talking about, the difference between like one hand up, one hand down, both hands up, both hands down. And it was something, and this is like, it could be total bullshit, but this was something I saw, was that it works on a kind of a flow sort of a thing where it's one position is like, as you're looking at it, your left, the character's right, is like business as usual kind of a thing at the top, and then the middle was like a chaos change state, and then the bottom is vision of the future. And then it sort of flows where instead of the same thing on the other side, it's the opposite on the other side, as you might imagine. So on the other side is a vision of the future at the top, and then a chaos state in the middle, and then business as usual, like what's going on right now at the bottom. So I don't know exactly how to interpret that shit. I ain't your Satanism expert or anything like that, but looking at some of the stuff going on, like with this blue guy, this Dionysus character, going around with both of his hands up, it's hard to interpret exactly what they mean by that, but just the posturing seemed like there was a definite message being sent there. Like you see some of these idiots like doing the red carpet thing, and they'll make like the little as above, so below, one hand up, one hand down, or they make the little triangle thing or over one eye kind of thing. And they're not subtle about it at all. Because, I can totally dig that, like, yeah, this is a still photo of a guy scratching his fucking eye. Like, oh, my eye, I got cat in my eye or some shit, right? But it's not that. Like, these fuckers are not subtle at all. They're very much like, ding, here's this. I'm doing this. And this was kind of what it appeared to be to me with this Olympic thing. But why I think this matters, because I do think to some extent maybe this is kind of a distraction. But in another way, I don't know if this is it does seem more like an in your fucking face, like ritual abuse kind of a thing. Like, look, I can do this shit on your worldwide stage. I can make these political statements or these degenerate statements, and you can't do shit about it. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And it's just kind of an up yours. I'm doing it because I can. On the other hand, though, I think people's reaction to it, like I said, one of the chief clerics in Iran says, like, yeah, this is a no-go. People all over are pissed off. I just saw a video this morning of a whole bunch of people came out like singing hymns in the street, which granted doesn't really do much when there's people trying to get your kids raped, right? That's not a real fucking problem solver right there. But it does, to me, speak a lot towards the general public sentiment, and that this does sort of appear to be, and this is what I'm driving at here, does sort of appear to be kind of a before and after moment, this Olympic bullshit. Because this shit has been building for a while, but this, going this direction on a worldwide stage, I think really, I don't know, I feel like under different circumstances, it could have been a situation where, I don't know, maybe if they had just cracked down on people a little harder, I don't know, maybe if Hillary had won or something, that we'd be at a point where they could do this shit. And it would be like, yeah, I can't do anything about it. It is what it is, man. There's a guy with tits over there. What can I do? But as it is, people are like, yeah, fuck this. This is not fucking cool. And the worm is, in terms of what people think about this shit, how willing they are to turn a blind eye to it, or how willing they are to just stand up and go, you know what, man, fuck you. Fuck you and your guy with tits. I'm not having this shit. All right, that worm is definitely starting to turn. And it feels like kind of a before and after moment. And I kind of wanted to draw a parallel here because I think there have been other moments like this, especially in American history, where there's been these kind of cultural themes kind of shoved down your throat, and people eventually, like either people consciously or subconsciously or just the circumstances as they are, it just won't fucking hold, all right? It becomes a situation where you push this shit so artificially in the wrong direction that eventually, like, this whole thing fucking crumbles, right? Like, you built this house of cards way too fucking high, but now you're trying to stand on top of it and you're going to fucking hurt yourself. This is definitely the cultural milk crate challenge, if you like. That's what I think this is. And, like, right now, the way this is these trannies are like that fucking hobo standing on top of 4 milk crates. Like, there's not a way that you get down off this thing fucking easy, pal. Like, this is going to fucking suck. It's going to suck. You're going to hate every second of it. So best of luck. And as it happens, man, they're starting, like, the crates are wobbling, dude. So I don't know. Let's brace for impact. Let's see how it shakes out. But kind of the comparison that came up as I was looking at this thing was something maybe a few people have heard about, and this was the Altamont Raceway situation, the Altamont concert that happened in California. And I had heard a little bit about this, and the way that they talked about this, when I was a kid still, like this had happened a while back now when I was a kid, but you still heard about it. And they said that this was the day the 60s died. Like all that shit with the love, peace, hair grease, love is colorblind, bro. Just fucking our vibe will win, man. Everything's cool, man. Just don't be the fucking hassles, man. Don't be a downer, man. And that shit was so fucking fake and so fucking forced. And granted, like, there probably were a lot, just like now, how there's a lot of people that actually are, you know, patriots, or a lot of these women that in their heart of hearts, they do want a world where people get along and don't fuck with each other and this kind of shit. But it ain't the fucking way the world works, man, and it never has fucking been. Like our uncle said, he who wants to stay alive must fight. It is what it is, dude. Like, you ain't walking your way. You ain't fucking loving and drum circling your way out of this shit. This is fucking happening. And this Altamont Raceway thing was really, I think, exactly like kind of what we're headed for now. So, kind of quick overview on this thing. This Altamont Raceway thing, if you haven't heard of this, it's hot comedy, dude. It's hot fucking comedy. And it's enough to piss you off, too. But check it out. So the deal was, like, these hands-rubbing music producers, right? Like, they saw the Woodstock thing, and Woodstock was this deal that was, I want to say it was like New Hampshire or some shit, and it was supposed to be kind of a small thing, but it just was sort of a thing that I guess sort of organically took off, and all these bands showed up, and all of these hippies drove out there, and there was like no porta potties, and people got stuck, but everybody talked about what a great fucking time it was, and I'm sure some people fucking OD'd. There's probably a lot of mystery pregnancies and who the fuck knows what. But for these fuckers, like, it was, what a great time, man. Fucking cool, man. But for the people, you know, pressing the records, they looked at this shit and like, dude, we can ride this shit a long fucking way. So they definitely grabbed onto that thing and fucking love, peace, and hair grease. And now, on this occasion, they tried to do what they wanted to think of as Woodstock West. So they had looked at trying to have this concert in Golden Gate Park where it would be, I think it was like the Grateful Dead was supposed to headline this shit, which I have never been a fan of this kind of shit, but whatever, man. I guess there's still cats that are into that music. I've never liked that shit, but whatever, man. Fucking whatever. So the Grateful Dead was supposed to headline this thing. They're supposed to be like Santana. There's some band called the Flying Burrito Brothers, which I had never heard about until I read about this thing. Like, fuck you, Coffee, you were at their first fucking show. Like, no. But Flying Burrito Brothers, the Stones, who else? Jefferson Airplane, and then I guess it was supposed to be Grateful Dead was supposed to close this thing. So they get out here, they get going. I want to say Santana and Jefferson Airplane had played based on what I had read. But, like, people got out there and started getting fucked up. And I guess so the way that this, like, really started to go south, right, was they wanted to have this thing at Golden Gate Park, which I haven't ever been to, but I can imagine is like a big kind of wide open park, right? For some reason, that got denied. Like, the city's like, no, man, fuck that. You're not doing that shit here. And they instead got hooked up with this spot at Altamont Raceway in Tracy, California, which, again, like, up north. The issue, though, was that they couldn't get, like, a proper stage. So the stage that they had was only, like, a yard off the ground. So it's, like, 36 inches off the ground, some shit like this. Which, if you were looking to, like, hop up there and fuck around, like, if you're tweaked out of your mind and, like, it's the fucking Stones, bro, and they go fucking jumping up there, right, the shit could get hectic fast. Because these are, at the time, even now, like, these are names you recognize, even now. So at the time, in 1969, like, these were big fucking names, dude. Fucking Santana, Jefferson Airplane, fucking Stones, this kind of shit. These are big fucking names, and these fucking kids are going to go nuts. But they don't have proper security. They only have a stage that's 36 inches high, so you could basically just hop right up there. So they're like, well, how the fuck are we going to manage this? So apparently, some guy had used, some producer or other, had used a chapter of Hell's Angels at another show to act as security. Now, like, in the ensuing interviews, like, these guys said, no, man, we just hired them to, like, keep an eye on the equipment and stuff. And then talking to some of the Hell's Angels guys, they're like, well, bro, I ain't no cop, man. I ain't never been no cop. I ain't here to try to... But, like, fuck you, because listen to how the story plays out. So the way they rigged this thing up was that they're going to have Hell's Angels guys from, I guess, the San Francisco chapter or whatever up here, sitting on the front of this stage, right? That's only like 36 inches high. So it's like you're basically, I mean, damn near eye to eye with, the people right there in the crowd. But the idea is you're going to be sitting on the edge of this stage so that nobody comes up there and tries to jump on stage and fuck around with the performers, right? So that's kind of your gig. And then I guess they had a few other people milling around, and they had some plainclothes people or whatever. But they're out here and they're doing this thing. So now the crowd starts getting fucking nutty because, like, the shit is obviously not controlled, not regulated at all. People are fucked up, and kids start jumping on the fucking stage. So these dudes... like, honestly, this is, like, just a good excuse to, like, crack some kid in the head that's all fucked up and can't barely really fight back. Like, if you see some biker motherfucker over there, like, I don't know why you would go over there and fuck around anyway, unless you are already, half in the bag. But the shit starts to get weird. So there's kids fucking around, jumping on the stage. At some point then, this 18-year-old, I'd say dusty field hand, I'll say hustler, just straight hustler. Because you got to look at a picture of this dude. I'll find a picture if I can't put it in the chat, man, because it's fucking gold, dude. It's better than anything you could hope for. But at some point, this kid, Meredith Hunter, easy to pick out of the crowd. You can even look it up on the YouTube. They got video of this shit, and he's wearing a green suit and a big fucking afro. And he goes jumping on the stage, and they grab him by his fucking head, throw him back out into the crowd. So this dude, he get uppity and shit. He ain't trying to have that shit. So this dude produces a 22 pistol. And now one of the fucking HA dudes, the Hells Angels dudes, sees this dude with a pistol, and there's like good still footage of it out there. Like this dude comes a-running and like woo, like over some dudes with a big fucking blade in his hand and like zap, just shanks this fucking guy. Shanks this fucking dude. He's fucking dead on the spot. A bunch of other HA guys rush him, start stomping the shit out of him. Like, you read the write-up on this thing. There's like a write-up on Wikipedia. Like, there's a bunch of shit out there on it. I didn't know how, like, well-known this shit was, but there's a bunch of shit on it. And it's like, from the show producer's perspective, and their perspective was like, we didn't plan nothing. We just wanted to soak up some fucking money with as little fucking overhead as possible. So we got this rinky-dink stage, hired these fucking HA guys for like, the payment was $500 worth of beer. So they know shit did this gig for beer. So like, you just sit there, listen to the music behind you, crack some kids in the heads. So they came in there with like, the guys I guess watching the stage were armed with like pool cues. Like fucking pool cues. Some guys had sharpened motorcycle spokes, I guess, and I'm not sure how handy that is, but like these dudes were armed up, all right? I guess they didn't have guns, but they had knives, fucking motorcycle chains, anything else that you could really fuck somebody up with. So this was the producer's situation. The fucking HA guys, their deal was like, hey man, they just offered some beer and just kind of to scare people away, man. And like, yeah, that explains the pool cue, but whatever, it is what it is, right? You know what you're fucking getting, right? You know what you fucking hired. From the view of the crowd though, and some of the fucking external, like, official security guys and the cops that showed up, they're like, dude, it was fucking mayhem. And there's even footage of this shit. But the worst part, to me, the fucking worst part was they're talking about this guy, Meredith Hunter's girlfriend, and in the video you could see it, and as soon as I saw the video I was like, please God, no. But her name's right there, and you can see her in the video, and they even have a little quick interview with her at the end as this guy's dead ass is getting carted away, and her name is Patricia Breedhoff. As you might imagine, nice looking blonde white girl, and apparently these two dipshits were going to Berkeley as art students, all right? So this chick met, the good, decent Meredith Hunter. What a nice boy with such a nice name, right? Met him at fucking Berkeley, just an aspiring artist. He's an aspiring artist. But this fucking guy, this hustler with his green suit and his big fro, went to this fucking concert, this Woodstock West situation, with a fucking pistol. And, like, don't tell me this guy's never done this shit before. Look at this fucking asshole. And now he's got this nice white girl with him. And I tried to look up, like, whatever became of her. And I couldn't find shit on it, man. There was like one Facebook group that was like specific to this Altamont concert, and I'm gonna guess it's like all boomers and shit that have mostly long since died, you know, hopefully, thank Christ. But I couldn't find anything on what had ever happened to her. If she, you know, if she persisted in her coal burning ways, or if she saw the writing on the wall and like, what the fuck was I thinking, and dipped out of that shit. Who knows, man? Who can fucking say? She probably blamed it on her trauma and went on to do other stupid shit. But anyway, the good news, though, is that Meredith Hunter was pronounced dead at the scene and would not go on to do anything else stupid in his life. Like, that was the end of the show for this fucking guy. So there is a bright spot there. Definitely a bright spot on that. But the takeaway here, I think, was that this is what it had always been building to, man. Like the 60s with the free love shit and the just let it be, man, and don't hassle nobody, man. Like it was always going to go this way. There were always going to be people that were going to be looking to make a couple of dollars more, expose you to more danger than you should be exposed to. Like imagine your kid telling you like, I'm going to go to this thing, or your little brother or your sister or your girlfriend, and like, I'm going to go to this thing, and there's going to be all these big name bands there, and the stage is like right fucking there, and there's not really any kind of security measures, but the security element there is going to be this organization known for cracking people in their fucking head. How cool is this? Like, I'd be like, fuck no, you're not going to that. I'm sure as shit not going to that. This sounds like a horrible place to be. But this is what this was always fucking leading to. How can I get a few dollars more regardless of what it exposes you to? Right? How can I get a Meredith Hunter with his fucking green suit and his giant afro into a very expensive art school? The kind of motherfucker that will carry a .22 pistol to Woodstock West Love Peace Hair Grease concert. How can I make this happen, right? And then how can I duck responsibility when all of these conflicting elements run into each other and somebody winds up dead? Right? And everybody stands around scratching their head like, I don't know what went wrong. It's a big fucking mystery. It's not a big fucking mystery, man. It's that you were always told that it wasn't going to happen this way when everybody who should have known better knew that it would. And it's just like now, man. You can only fuck with people's kids so much. You can only parade a man with a beard and tits in front of people so much. You can only make a mockery of some people's, and hey, man, I'm not even saying this as Mr. Church-going man. But you can only make a mockery of somebody's religion, the thing that they're basing their eternal soul on. You can only fuck with that so much before people say, you know what, man, fuck this. I'm not cool with it no more. You know? And here we fucking are. So where that leads from here, it's hard to fucking say. But I mean, when you look down the road at, some of this shit going on, especially with like Israel right now, where they're starting to go heavy again. I guess they just struck into Syria. They've been hitting heavy into Lebanon, and they're talking now about, yeah, man, it's going to be full scale Hezbollah and Israel. So it's really too late for them to fucking back out. And like, could it be worse timing? Could it be worse fucking timing if you're Israel, that like the whole West is like, you know what? Fuck this whole program. Everybody is like, man, fuck this. I've had it with you. I've had it with your shit. I've had it with the fucking immigrants. I've had it with the rapes. Which reminds me, I just saw a thing this morning that some child, some teen boy, as they're billing it in the UK news, just dipped into like, what was it? A Taylor Swift themed yoga class for children and stabbed a bunch of kids. So I think it was like 2 dead, a bunch injured, some parents injured that were there and tried to jump on this dude. But as it was, it's a 17-year-old who moved to UK from Rwanda at age like 3 or some shit. So really it's like, could you have the worst case for an anti-immigration argument? Because obviously this guy's the perfect example of like, you can bring this idiot here when he's 3, he's not gonna fucking change. The magic dirt ain't gonna fucking stick. This idiot's gonna grow up and stab children. All right, there's nothing you can fucking do about it. And you can make that fucking argument about, well, it's not all of them. It doesn't need to be all of them. It only needs to be a few of them. So for my money, I mean, this is the perfect example of the little children's story that came out around our uncle's time, talking about the mushroom, right? They're pills, And they're talking about, hey, man, there's a lot of mushrooms out there. They're plenty good. You can eat them, put them in a stew, put them on your pizza, whatever. But there's some that will kill you dead. And in a lot of cases, if you're not trained up on it, if you're not the mushroom expert, you can't look at it and say, I know for sure this one's going to be okay and that one there is going to kill me. There might be some that just kill you. And there might be some that even fool the experts that like, oh shit, I thought it was this, but it's actually that. And now you're fucking dead. So the same way, like you don't go down the street fucking taking chances, just putting mushrooms in your mouth, talking about like, well, they won't all kill you. They don't all need to. Only one of them needs to. And that one could be one of the million that gets let in on a daily fucking basis. So again, like if you're Israel, like could the timing be worse for all of this shit to go wrong? Where everybody's like, you know what, fuck this program, fuck those immigrants, fuck all these dollars going out the door, fuck these trannies, fuck that guy with tits. Not literally, but this shit has got to fucking go. If it means boring ho-hum life where I grow up and go to church every Sunday, but I don't have to worry about my kids getting stabbed or my kid coming home with his dick cut off or my daughter coming home with her tits cut off, then wow, I'll fucking take it, sign me up. All right? That's where we're fucking at. But to sort of wrap this up, I guess, on a white pill, I was flipping through something and somebody had sent me a thing on, there was a talk by Colonel Douglas McGregor. Like people send me normie stuff, like normie people send me normie things. And I feel like I don't put my, I don't cross the streams as it were, with this shit in real life too much, but I kind of am the way that I fucking am, dude. Like I'm not handing out free passes. I don't really mince words so often. But still, somebody, that I know in real life thought it would be a cool idea to send me a thing by Douglas McGregor, which was basically, it's shit, dude. Like, that guy hasn't got the fucking balls in. And you know what pisses me off is that, like, you're a fucking retired colonel. You're not poor. I don't know if the guy's got a wife or kids or what, but fuck, man. I mean, you've got every good reason to just fucking name them. Just say it, dude. Everybody knows it. Just say it. But he ain't going to say it. He won't do it. So instead, he's talking to that. So I'm kind of listening to this shit. And he's talking about the globalists and this thing and that thing. And it's in one ear and out the other. And so I'm listening to this shit. And it ran out. It's on YouTube. So it ends. And then a next thing starts up. And the next thing that starts up, like I don't have, like I turned off the listening history. So like hopefully it'll just kind of give me something that's almost related to that. But whatever, something cooler. Not like you can expect much from YouTube. But I'm listening and it goes to one of these podcasts where it's got the video along with. And it's one of these deals where it's a bunch of like guys in their late 20s or maybe early 30s. And they're talking to basically prostitutes and strippers and porn stars, and it's not that one whatever podcast. It's called like the whatever podcast, where it's like the guy's straight face, and you always see clips of it on YouTube or on the gram. And the guy's just kind of owning them, and they get pissed off and they walk out, and like, I won't take like a fat guy. What if I said I wouldn't take a fat girl? Oh my god! And then they fuck off. Like, and everybody laughs. But this was actually a little better quality. And sorry, gents, I don't remember the name of it because I don't have history turned on and it just sailed away. But I was listening to it while I was working on some shit, and the guy had some, like the what it was doesn't especially matter, so I'll get to this. But he's talking to these women. These looks like strippers or porn stars or something. And he's talking about, like, what kind of a man, would you be willing to look into a long-term relationship type thing? Like, what's your criteria? Like, how tall does he have to be? How much money does he have to make? What's his physique got to be like? What kind of job does he have to have? So he's talking to these broads, and in their mind, they think that the average man makes about $200,000 a year. The average man is about 6 feet tall. That the average man has probably been with like 20, 30 women in his lifetime. And, this is about the size of it. This is what they think. So this guy is like, well, how much would a man have to make for you to be interested? And these dumb bitches are like, oh, $1 million, like $1 million. Like, I'm worth it. Like, and he's like, okay, well, let's like step back from that. And the guy actually called him out a couple times, and he was like, look, man, let's nip some of this in the bud. If I walked into a Ferrari dealership and I said, I want this Ferrari, this top of the line car. And they said, well, how much money do you have? What can you afford? And I said, well, you know, the money in my account doesn't really reflect how much I'm just suited to this car. Like, it's just meant to be. I just feel that, you know, this is where I belong, in this car. They'd beat me in the head and tell me to get the fuck out of here. They'd be like, no, you can't afford this. You can't have it. All right. This doesn't go with this. Like, these things don't line up. So when you tell me that, like, I just deserve it, I should have a man that does XYZ $1 million or whatever just because, let's think first, like, what do you bring to the table that justifies that? Because you could say just you, but every woman will say just you. So what sets you apart? And they still are kind of like blank stares. Like, well, yeah, that's like my standard. I mean, maybe like $500,000 then. And he's like, okay, let's continue, you know, and like, how much do you think the average guy makes? About like 200,000. So he's kind of owning a couple of them. And then he's like, look, let me just say it simple. The average man, because you're taking into account like guys who pour coffee or guys dropping off newspapers or guys doing, you know, little jobs, sandwich artist, whatever. The average man, the average person makes about $37,000 in this country. And I don't know if this podcast was from, you know, last week or a year ago or 2 years ago. Even if we say like 45,000, that's not a super big number, all right? But these women are like, oh my God, well, like, I would never go out with like a sandwich artist. Like, well, that's, you know, the whether you like it or not part, that's not the question here. We're talking about just the average. That also means that if this is average, that half of people make less than that. So we already know that, like, this business about a wage gap, that this is for every reason horsecock. This is not a real thing. But so we could just say people, and for our arguments here, we can just say men. But that also means then, right, that if men are making on average $45,000 a year, that half of men are making less than that. So they're talking about, well, how tall should a guy be if you were going to be interested in him? Oh my God, like 6'1", 6'2", and he's like, all right. So he's like, listen, let me say it this way. How tall is the average man in America? He goes first, like, how tall are you? Like 5'3", 5'4". Okay, so you need a man that's like 6-7 inches taller than you? What the fuck is that about? That's just like, you know, like, they can't explain it. This is just something they heard, like on Facebook or some shit. And so this is how it ought to be. He's like, so you understand the average man in America is like 5'8", 5'9", right? Like, and because this is, you know, obviously this is taking into account like Guatemalans, you know, but that also averages out where there's like some tall motherfuckers out there, but this is average. So that also means half of the men in America are going to be shorter than that. He said, you want to guess how many men, you know, like, what's the percentage of men that are over 6 feet tall? And I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was like 5%, something like that. So it's not a lot, dude. It's not a fucking lot. But they're still scratching their heads. And he's like, you want to guess like the top 1%. So the top 1% of men, you want to guess how much money they make? I don't know, like 400,000. So you're talking about like you'd settle for somebody with a $500,000 a year income. You're only talking about 1% of men that are making $400,000 or more. But now here's like the I don't know, how can you say the white pill part of this? So he says, all right, so take a guess then at how many sexual partners the average man will have in his life. And they're like, I don't know, like 20 or 30. And obviously, you know, these are whores, so they're going to estimate high, but they are good-looking women, so they're going to be around mostly good-looking men who are going to get a little ass here and there, right? So they're like, I don't know, like 20 or 30, and he says 5. He's like, the average man, and I mean, I don't know where he's getting these numbers. I don't know. This is just what this guy's saying. Even if it's double that, 10, whatever. But this guy says 5. Average man in his lifetime will have 5 sexual partners. And they're scratching their head. But now understand, once again, if 5 is an average, what does that mean for that bottom half? That means less than 5. So half of dudes out there are going to have less than 5 sexual partners in their entire life. But now here's where the white pill part comes in. So he's saying, guess what the top 5% of men report as the number of sexual partners they've had over their lifetime? Out of, so all the men that report, and I don't know how this was figured or measured. I don't know, like, when did you start counting, like in the 70s or the 80s, or are you talking to grandfathers now? Are you talking to some guy in his 30s? I don't know. I don't know any of that shit. That's not what I'm getting at. So this guy says top 5% are reporting over 105. So you're talking about over 100 versus down here in the middle where it's like 5, right? And he's saying 70% of men will report having had no sex in the last year. So what can we take away from this? What we can take away from this, gents, all right, it's like we can take away it's a tough market out there, but it also coincides with what we already know. We already know that women will willingly share an alpha instead of having a beta all to themselves. They will willingly wait in line, sit in a rotation for access to some guy that she already knows is banging a bunch of other women. But we can complain all we want about that, but it is what it is. You ain't going to change that until you change the way women behave sexually, and that's really like the benefit for the average person of a monogamous culture. Is it like, no, we're not doing this thing where one guy has got 10 women and 10 guys over here have no women. You were doing this thing where everybody gets one, everybody gets fucking one, or nobody gets any, right? That's just ideally. But it's shifted to that where women can do whatever the fuck they want, and when they can do whatever they want, this is how they behave. So how can this benefit you? What this tells you, gents, and this is the white pill that I'm beating around the bush getting to, what this tells you is that, you would think as a man logically that when you improve your game, when you improve your status, when you improve the way you can see yourself as a man, that like, what can I bring to the table? Am I in shape? What kind of qualities do I mean, you ain't going to get fucking taller, but you can make up for a lot of this shit. You can be in shape. You can get out there and get busy, whether that's having 2 or 3 shitty jobs or just one really decent job. We would think that it's going to increase, slowly and gradually, arithmetically, right? To where I have a halfway decent job. I'm kind of in shape. I have 1 or 2 girls at least willing to call me, go out with me. I've got a sort of a defined 6-pack. I can afford a few nice dinners a month. Okay, I have 2 or 3 girls and 1 that is sexually interested in me. We would think of it this way, right? But it doesn't work that way. What it works more like, apparently, by the stats, is that it's a little and then boom, like exponential improvement. Where on one side of the fence, you're like, yeah, I've got absolutely nothing. Like that guy at the average level, you ask any woman, any of these women that you're like, hey, would you be interested in the average man? Oh, fuck no. Never mind that they're a below average woman. They're still going to say no. No, man, I'm going to wait it out for my above average unicorn. So once you hit that above average mark, now the amount of women rolling in increases exponentially. Where you're like, holy hell, like what switch just got flipped? Like what faucet did I open? And it's all of this shit stacking up. And the cool thing about it, gents, is that a woman has only got 10 years to make that sale. Right? She's got from 18, 19, 20. By the time she hits 30, if she hasn't made that sale, she is in a fucking hurry. You better sell this shit fast to anybody with, a car and a pot to piss in. You better fucking move quick because you're going to be off the market. You're going to be on the fucking clearance rack. So they got to move quick. You have the luxury of time to build yourself. You got to build. It sucks, but you can do it. So starting small, day to day, day by day. And by the time, dude, you shouldn't be looking seriously until you're 30, really. I mean, if something falls in your lap, take it. But if you're 30 or especially younger and you're thinking, it's never going to happen for me. Well, not fucking now. It shouldn't. You've got time to build yourself into that dude where you're at that far right end of the bell curve, where you're in that higher percentage sexual marketplace for men. And now that's when just a little improvement and the amount of women showing interest is going to increase just exponentially. So that's my white pill for today, man, is that a little improvement, a little improvement, a little improvement. You've got the time, make it happen, and the rewards will be exponential, especially in a third world, emerging shitbox country like what we're living in now. So I'm going to leave you with that. I got to cut it short. I got to go handle some shit. But until next time, gents, you know where you can find me. You know where to leave this. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Keep your neck out of the news. I have been Coffee, and these are my takes.